All right. All right. Welcome to another episode of Story Late Night with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. I believe you can hear me now. We've got our technical issues solved. Thank you guys for showing up, and not just for showing up, but also for being there. Like, not just showing up for the show, but for being there on a personal level for BDD. You guys know who you are. You guys are always in my corner. I greatly appreciate it. Um, when we go through rough times, it's good to know that you have people in your, holding you down. And you guys are my, you guys have my heart. So thank you for that. Um, we have a little something happening tonight. Let's see. We have Trump indictments, CNN Licht. I guess that's how I'm pronouncing his last name. I don't care how it's pronounced. And Pride Month. Before I continue, let me just say a quick hello to my friends out there. Lane 2 is back. Brenda Minta, welcome. Zelda, Allison Hatch, Tina G, Janet M, Tina G, of course. There's Punxsutawney Mo, the Trump Reaper, Bernadette H, Lucy L, Sandra from Paramount, California, Cindy C. Everybody's here. The ABX girl, Rita Bartley, is here. Ness from Connecticut. There she is. And Cindy, thank you. Cindy C, thank you for pulling my giving me the heads up on the sound thing. That damn Karen is here. The Arts Lark, Tanya Vav, Janet M, Static X Age. We got an interesting crowd here tonight. So without further ado, let's review. Oh, there's Cha Cha. Joe Rouse is here. We're looking for Misha Oliver. If anyone has heard from her, give us a comment in the comments there. Cecile Kazemi, long time no see me. Okay. Well, if all goes according to plan, it looks like this illustration may soon come a reality at a prison near you. Trump is being indicted as soon as tomorrow, mañana. And Sarah, there, I see you there. For some reason, conservatives are obsessed with rainbows and shitting on rainbows, and we're going to get into what the hell is their damn problem. And Chris Licht, as we mentioned, is out of CNN. This is CNN. And before I forget, please remember, if you like the content you are about to witness, to see, to consume, to absorb, please hit the like button. And remember to please subscribe to the channel. Hey, your boy Ken, I see you there, my friend. Welcome back, my friend. Good to see you. All right. So, as some of you or many of you may already know, I was out of pocket for a bit. Um, we had some personal, well, my father recently passed. And there's many feelings wrapped up in that. Let me actually just cut this music off altogether. I happen to like that music, but I also like to be heard too. So yeah, my dad and I had a complicated relationship, I guess. It's no more complicated than anybody's, he was a great man, he was a Marine. He served his country proudly, and he taught me a lot. You don't realize how much somebody has given you uh in the span of time that you've known them, until you sit and really take inventory. A lot of the funny phrases that I have, like I've just kind of absorbed from him. A lot of the beliefs. One of my core beliefs is to never settle for less. Never settle for less than than what you really want. When I was 10 years old, my dad took my sister and I to the Buster Brown shoe store. And I was interested in the time at getting a pair of sneakers. They were called kangaroos. I don't know if you're showing your age if you remember what kangaroos were. But kangaroos were basically sneakers that had a little pocket on the side, a zipper pocket. And I thought those were the coolest things ever. And I wanted a pair of those so badly. But the Buster Brown, and again, you're showing your age if you remember the Buster Brown shoe store, um, that particular Buster Brown on Dykeman Street did not have the kangaroo sneakers. So, um, they had other sneakers I saw, and I was like, well, I told my dad, I was like, well, I guess I'll just get one of these. And he was like, no. He pulled me up. He's like, oh, if you want the kangaroo sneakers, we'll leave. We'll go somewhere else and get them. Don't just take whatever else is here. There's other places we can go. And that was a lesson that stuck with me. What was I don't know, 9 or 10 years old, and it stuck with me all these years. It's an important lesson. Um, but it wasn't all rosy and beautiful, as you can see here in this picture. This picture was taken at my sister's wedding, uh, and this was a hell of an event for many reasons. First of all, um, my sister met a wonderful guy, who is, they're still happily married, and he would burn down the world for her. This I know. So that's the guy. That is the guy. But this is also was the first time I had seen him since my grandmother's funeral, maybe 20 years prior to this picture being taken. 20 years. And no, we weren't separated by continents. We weren't separated by countries or even states. Actually, we were kind of technically, we were separated by states, but no, we were separated by just not seeing eye to eye on some things, and that shit happens in families. And our family was no different. And you know it was a combination of stubbornness and and just life. When you're living your life, like during that time, I was dealing with my own addiction problems, and so I was never really in the right headspace. And fortunately, my sister's wedding allowed us to hi, Cindy from Alaska. There she is, Cindy. Um, allowed us to reunite, to bury the hatchet, as they say. And it's important because there was no more poignant lesson about when they say life is short. They ain't kidding. They are not kidding. This picture was taken in 2007. My father passed away 16 years later, um, last week, a week ago tomorrow. And so, yeah, don't waste time, guys, gals. Don't waste time being angry over shit with people that you love. You know, life is too short. Life is too short. So, sure enough, afterwards, the band got back together. you know, every few years or so, we'd all make a pilgrimage to visit my dad because he was in ailing health, and at some point, he'd slip and bust his head in the bathroom. So we'd hopping on a plane to make sure he's okay. And so this was one of those times. That's me, my dad, and my two sisters. Here's another one. This was another trip to the hospital. And we probably made another two trips, medical related. Hey, Scribble My Dibbles is here. Speak of the angel. My sister is here in the room. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So yeah, as I said, life is short, right? And I'm actually going through another life is short incident with another family member, and this one I have no control over. I think I told you guys that my uncle is a Trump supporter. I don't hate him. I don't hate him. I'm a little upset with him right now, but it has nothing to do with his support for Trump. I called him up, right? I called him up on the phone, and first I thought it was bizarre. I'd been calling him for days, and I know he don't go anywhere. Has a very sedentary lifestyle, so it's peculiar that for a period of days he's not answering the phone. Finally, I get him on the phone, and he says, look, I don't have time for this. I'm going out. I'm like, what? Did I interrupt a call already in progress? I'm like, hey, Unc, it's me. I want to talk. And he's like, look, you expect me to kiss your ass when you call me a racist redneck? I'm like, huh? What? What? I never said any such thing. He accused me of calling him a racist redneck. And first of all, my uncle is as dark as the day is long. You know what I mean? So, first, for you to be a redneck, you need a different complexion. Okay. I don't call anybody on Twitter. I don't call my worst enemies, those nasty trolls that come at me day in and day out. I don't call them racist rednecks. Why would I call you one of those? Right. And I asked him, huh? I was like, what? And he repeated it again. And he says, I don't have time for this. And he hung up on me. Now, look, a few years ago, we had a very long debate, literally a 2-hour debate on the phone. 2 hours. And it was, at times very contentious. But it was just a debate, and it was silly, whatever. I didn't hold it against him. Again, I have very limited family members nearby, so we ended that debate, and I decided, I'm only going to talk sports with this guy from now on, sports and maybe TV, and that's it. And we had another conversation after that. It was perfectly fine. We talked about sports and fantasy football and how's his back and all that stuff. Um, and that was that. Right. So I don't know where he's gotten the idea that I have called him a racist redneck, but it is absurd. And I believe that somebody, maybe some of his buddies in his area have probably figured out that we're related, and they're like, "Hey, I saw your nephew there and he called you a racist redneck." Why? He knows me. Why would he think I would ever call him something like that? It's ridiculous. So, you know, what can I do? What can I say? It hurts me that he would believe somebody else over me. And number two, like, why, if you thought that I said that to you, why wouldn't you want to hash that out? Why wouldn't you want to hear me out? Why won't you believe me when I tell you that ain't me? What can I do? I'm not going to spend any more time obsessing over this. I'm going to move on to something that is happier right now because um, we don't have enough happy in our lives. And so let's talk about Pride Month, huh? June is Pride Month, and we have a whole lot of letters up here. LGBTQIA. It's a lot of letters there, but I usually say LGBTQ for short. And I know the recent iteration of this, there's a plus on the end. So, happy Pride Month to all of my LGBTQIA brothers and sisters, or I should say, it's just siblings, right? Because if you say brother and sister, that kind of limits it to gender. It makes it gender specific, and part of that LGBTQIA is gender. And there is a whole debate over gender. And look, as we go through life, we are learning things that we didn't know about human nature and about psychology and about people 30 years ago. Let me give you an example. Okay. When I was in high school in the 80s, it was not uncommon for people to use the R word, right? To call someone retarded as a derogatory insult, right? And it's hurtful. And it's especially hurtful because it is a word that is used to attack, to denigrate people who are disabled, right? What's the big deal about words? So I use a word. What's the big deal? It's just a word. Words can't hurt. Actually, they do hurt, right? When you dehumanize someone um, by labeling them with some kind of word that is dismissive, that means that they are less of a human than you are, that they are less deserving of love and respect than you are, then that is a fucking problem. That is the problem. And we have a bunch of assholes out there, not just Ron DeSantis, but all of his little acolytes and the people that listen to that war on woke nonsense, that are going out there and saying and doing hateful things. you know um and I could go on about the different derogatory uh words that have been used to describe people. We didn't know at one time there would be a kid in class who was slower than the rest of the class, who didn't perform as well on tests and exams. And people just thought, oh, he's just stupid. Oh, he's just disruptive, etc. No, it turns out 20 years later, 15 years later, we found out that they had something called ADD or ADHD, right? And what happened? A little tiny pill changed their lives and took them from performing down here to performing way up here. It's a chemical imbalance. But these kids, for decades, were just being thrown to the back of the class, thrown into a special needs class, and forgotten about because we didn't know. Veronica Tello, thank you reminding me. Dyslexia, same thing. People didn't even know that these letters were being transposed. So we're going through life making judgments about people when there's science out there that we haven't yet discovered. And so here we are in 2023, and what science is telling us is that, hey, we don't know everything there is to know about gender. Okay, we don't know everything there is to know, but there is more to know. And it's not like this shit is has just happened. It's not like we're just discovering. Here's some scenes, some pictures taken from Target. Let me just do a sidestep here. Some of these assholes have been going into Target, and Target has these nice little displays, let's say Pride, in their store. And it's their right, they're a business just the same as you have bakeries that refuse to bake a cake for a gay wedding, and you conservatives celebrated when that woman won her lawsuit. She had the right to not make a cake. This store, and you guys love business so much, this store has a right to market its goods to whomever they want to, however they want to do it. But this idiotic war on homosexuality, on gayness, on LGBTQ, this shit has been going on since the black and white photo days, since Anita Bryant was saying, save our children from homosexuality. So look, you guys have been fighting this war since then, and you still haven't gotten it, huh? Uh, ain't nobody converting to homosexuality just by choice. It's not a choice. It's not. I think I'll try another. It's not that at all. You were born that way. You were born that way. It's not something you choose. You were born that way. You can't catch it from being in proximity of a gay person. It's not. A lot of these conservatives, you could not pay them to believe that they can possibly catch COVID and die. But they are convinced that they can catch homosexuality when their kids can catch homosexuality. That's not how it works. If that was how it worked, there would be a homosexuality. The LGBTQ community wouldn't be so small. Be much bigger. And maybe that's what they're worried about. They're worried that somehow, their kids are going to be convinced. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. Veronica Tello wants to know, how do they accept Caitlyn Jenner? They don't. They don't. They accept the things that she says when she's selling herself out. Caitlyn Jenner is a disgrace. She is selling out. She's selling out herself. She's speaking out against herself. And I don't get it. I don't get it. She is like, I've heard people talk about like the black community, for instance. We often say it's like a bucket of crabs. When somebody gets to the top, they push everybody else back down. They pull the ladder up and don't help anyone else out. That's why we can't get ahead like other communities. They help each other up. Caitlyn Jenner is just as bad. She is rich. She is famous, and she doesn't give a damn about anyone else who is vulnerable. Her her status, her social status, and her economic status insulate her from the same kind of harm that someone who has less money and less support would be vulnerable to. So anyway, the Republicans, the conservatives have decided that this is the hill they want to die on, and I can't help but think that they are absolutely focused on the wrong thing. Homosexuality is not a pandemic, and it's not a fad, and it's not going away. Hopefully the only thing that's going away is the ignorance about it. God damn. I mean, for people who believe in small government, get your fucking eyeballs and opinions out of people's bedrooms. People are going to love who they love. Oh, I don't want my son, my daughter participating against biological boys. That's a lot of nonsense, right? It's not like that's also an epidemic. Do you know what kind of abuse uh trans children endure in school? Like horrendous abuse that makes them want to take their own lives. I'm not talking 17, 18 years old. I'm talking 8, 9, and 10 years old kids are already considering suicide because they cannot be accepted. And you think that people want to endure that kind of abuse to participate in a sport? To look at a girl in their skirt in the dressing room, in the locker room? That's ridiculous. Grown people, you should be ashamed of yourselves. And I'm sick and tired of it, but I'm not going to stop speaking out against it. It really it makes me mad. Really, what they should be focusing on is the economy. They should be focusing on crime. Thank you, Sandra from Paramount, California. I appreciate you. Thank you for the kind donation. Something else I'm concerned about. You want to be concerned about a real epidemic? It's not so much that that there are fights in school going on all day, everywhere, all the time, but it sure seems like that because of the proliferation of videos of school fights being posted online nonstop. And these videos are being supercharged. When I say they're being supercharged, they are being boosted. Their engagement is through the roof. And that is intentional, my friends. This you want they the conservatives often talk about having the gay agenda rammed down their throat. It's not. It's not. They just want the right to exist is all. If you stop trying to legislate against LGBTQ people, then we the rest of us won't have to stand up and shut you fuckers down. But in real time, these videos on social media are being shoved down our throats. I see this in my feed all the time, and I don't follow these accounts. I don't follow these accounts. There's something like I think one is called Fight Videos, and another one is called um, Crazy Videos, or something like that. But all over my feed, these fight videos, and some of them are just fighting. Some of them are people shooting what they used to call snuff videos. I'm not showing you any of these. It's disgusting. It's literally people being shot to death. There's no there's no like sensitive warning, trigger warning, or nothing like that. It just that's how it comes up. It's not blurred, and you're scrolling through, minding your own business. And what's this? Oh shit! Somebody just got shot to death in a store. What is the purpose of this? What? Why are these being rammed down our throats? Violence, fighting, death. If you were to, and now some of these videos, some of these posters, I see people posting 4 videos because now you can do that on Twitter. You can post 4 videos in one tweet. And when you post those 4 videos in one tweet, you are creating a narrative, a story. In the case of these 4 videos being posted all at the same time, 9 times out of 10, it's black people fighting black kids fighting white kids. So what we're seeing is that people are telling a story. What is the story they're being told? They're being told that these black people are beating up our white children. That's the story that they are telling. That is the narrative that they are telling. And it's false. It's a false narrative, but you wouldn't know because everywhere you turn around, anytime I turn around, I'm seeing these videos. And if you scroll through the comments, you see a lot of racist shit. Like there's a meme of Yogi Bear and Boo Boo, and Boo Boo is asking Yogi Bear, "Is it them again, Yogi?" And yes, holy shit, Zelda, thank you for that kind donation. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. That is very generous. Um, so that is the narrative that they are trying to create, that black people are angry, savage people. Somebody came out recently and said something about 2 people fighting one at the same time. Was it Tucker Carlson that said that? Said that, we don't fight like that. I'm struggling to remember who said it, but they said they basically they were implying that white people don't fight like that 2-on-1. They say the implications that that's how black people fight or that's how Latino people fight. Your boy Ken, thank you, my friend, stepping up big time for the kind of donation. Thank you very much. So yeah, that's what they're saying. And then in those other videos, the snuff videos, the bang bang shoot 'em up to death videos, they're also trying to make it acceptable for people to take the law into their own hands. So you're being fed, on one hand, you're being shown images of black people beating up our white children. And on the other hand, we're seeing extrajudicial actions being taken, presumably without any consequence. I mean, sure, if you scroll down far enough, you'll see somebody posting an article saying, that person was either put in jail or they were exonerated because they were being robbed in a store or whatever. But the point I am making is this: stay alert, be aware. Don't just accept these narratives. Question why people are feeding this shit to you. Melissa McQueen, what's up, my friend? I haven't seen you in a minute. Welcome back, Melissa McQueen. Okay, and speaking of feeding people narratives, we have Chris Licht, who is out. Hang on a second. I need a special sound effect for this. Okay, Chris Licht is out at CNN as the head of operations or whatever. He is. Oh, Cecile Kazemi, my friend. Thank you so kindly. I appreciate you too. And just so you know, I don't just appreciate the folks that are passing out tips, but I I appreciate you all, but I definitely do appreciate. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had stopped watching CNN actually probably a year or so before Chris Licht took over, right? Because what was that? He started just about a year ago. He's only been in that position a year for about a year, and I think I'd stopped watching when Brianna, forget her last name, that one Brianna was doing her bullshit um, milk shortage reporting. But again, it all has to do with creating narratives. And Chris Licht's narrative, what he was trying to do was both sides us to death and basically turn CNN more into a Fox News light. And thank you, Brianna Kyler. Thank you, Veronica Tello. Um, he yeah, and I guess the last straw was the Trump town hall when they had Trump uh basically surrounded by a room full of avid supporters who were instructed before the broadcast not to boo. They said, do not boo. Interesting. And they weren't talking about do not boo um, the host. They were talking about do not boo Trump. So yeah, so he stood up there and made a lot of lewd comments about about E. Jean Carroll and a whole host of other things. And it was just a disgusting thing. And that was the beginning of the end, or maybe it was the end of the end for Chris Licht. Thank you, Lane, too. Thank you so kindly. Appreciate you. And then actually, they had another town hall with um, Nikki Haley. And that wasn't much better, but Nikki Haley is infinitely less awful than Donald Trump is. If Donald Trump is like a steaming pile of diarrhea, then Nikki Haley is like a loud but dry fart. Neither of them is pleasant, but one is certainly less pleasant than the other. So before I continue, let me remind you, if you are just joining us, if you are enjoying this content, if you're looking forward to the very next words out of my mouth, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. That damn Alaskan. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Cindy, so kindly. I appreciate you too. And I am happy to have my face and voice back. I think I couldn't find it, and it was here the whole time. Tim Zoller, Wacky Wisdom Network, asks a question: what politicians are pleasant? I could answer. I could answer that. I think I will. I would say President Obama, for one, is very pleasant. I love that guy. I love him so much. I like Hakeem Jeffries a great deal too. I do. And there are others. Oh, Katie Porter. Katie Porter is brilliant. She's very smart. Jamie Raskin. Huh? Very pleasant. These are pleasant, nice, intelligent people. So yeah, I could go on, but you get the idea. They're not all horrible, but I guess it depends on what side of the fence you're sitting on, right? President Biden. Oh, what's wrong with me? Yes, Trump Reaper. Look, I'm going to be honest. You guys know it's no secret. President Biden was not my first or second choice for president, but he's the one we got, and I'm very glad that I voted for him, and I'm very glad he won, and I will be voting for him again. We have another one, Maxwell Frost. That's a good one, Veronica Tello. Okay, so where was I? I was talking about unpleasant. Yes, getting back to unpleasant. So this is a story that is both pleasant and unpleasant at the same time. What's unpleasant that is that it is Donald Trump, and not only that it is Donald Trump, but it is that he is about to be indicted again. And before you say, why is that unpleasant? If I'm being honest, I prefer to be honest. You know, um, it's not great that a former president is being indicted, and I know uh, he is a crime magnet. But I mean, this is where we are right now. It's a hell of a thing that we're looking at right now. I mean, am I going to celebrate if and when he is convicted? 100% I will, because it will mean that justice is being served. But am I worried that this is going to open up a Pandora's box? 100%. I'm also worried about that. So, but the positive thing is that Jack Smith is no joke. Is no joke. If you want the bad guys to be caught, Jack Smith is the one to go after him. And he ain't messing around. He is not leaving any stone unturned. He's talking to everybody. He's taking no shit from anybody. Um, and so it looks like he's spoken to about 20 plus, maybe 2 dozen of Trump's former Secret Service detail people. He's talked to and a lot of this is has to do with the classified documents case. Now, I'm not worried that that President Biden is going to be in trouble for this case. Why? Because once he learned that he had them, he was like, "Hey, we have these." Like, was nobody rooting around in President Biden's shit and said, "Hey, you have doc?" No, it was like he was like, "Hey, we found this. We want to get it back to you." Okay, full disclosure here. Same thing with Mike Pence. I'm not crazy about, really, I'm not a fan of his at all, but he's at least done the bare minimum right thing. But Donald Trump was like all about trying to hide his shit. And they often say that the cover up is worse than the crime. I don't know if that I don't know if that's true, but whatever. He tried his damnedest to cover it up, and with the most pathetic excuses. Like, at first he was like, he said he didn't have him, and then he said, well, they were planted, and they said no, they weren't planted. They're mine. I had a right to, and then he said, I declassified them in my mind. Like, it's just I would hate to seriously, I would hate to be his lawyer because he's not doing his legal team any favors. And that's why a lot of his lawyers have resigned. They've quit on his ass. And here's one of his former aides. God damn it. I had notes, but I forgot to print them out. Budovich, is that his name? Help me out here, guys. Taylor. Is his Taylor? I want to say Budovich. That sounds right. I'm going with Taylor Budovich. Final answer. um, so Taylor Budovich was one of Trump's top aides and top defenders. And yeah, he was just seen recently talking to the feds. Taylor Budovich. Budovich. Thank you, Veronica Tello. And also Mark Meadows. Now, this isn't recent. Mark Meadows actually already spoke to the feds. Was it a grand jury a few weeks back, right? Well, we're just finding out now. And the fact that we're finding out now seems to give most of the legal experts the idea that we are close to seeing Pamela Hamilton, thank you for this reminder. Oh my god. This was one of the funniest stories that like I think when I heard about this, I might have been dealing with my dad, but this is really funny as hell. Like, you know, Donald Trump's attempts, plural, attempts to cover up his crimes. I mean, they would only be worse. They couldn't be worse if you had the criminals from Home Alone trying trying to trying to do it. That was hilarious, hilarious. Yeah, so his efforts to cover up his crimes are blatant, and even I would say even a junior cub prosecutor could put Trump behind bars. Uh, so yeah, Mark Meadows is one of those guys who knows where all the bodies are buried. He was the behind the scenes guy. He was the White House chief of staff. He's the guy everybody was. Uh, your boy Ken. Let me just interrupt my little thing here. Um, your boy Ken says, off topic, but our trash ass AG, Attorney General Ken Paxton, got impeached by the Texas House. Well done. Thank you for sharing that, your boy Ken. Um, so yeah, Mark Meadows was the guy that everybody was trying to reach when January 6th was going on, and they were trying to get him to get Trump to stop the madness, to stop the violence. And this is the same guy that people were also trying to reach to get him to start up the madness, to overturn the election, to overturn it. So, people like to say, oh, it's unprecedented that we've ever had a president facing jail time. You are 100% right. But it's also unprecedented that we ever had a president who incited insurrection, who refused to peacefully turn over power, to peacefully cede power to his uh, successor. That's some crazy shit. And I could go on about the things that he was guilty of. He tried to he's tried many times to obstruct justice. He tried to extort President Zelensky from Ukraine to get dirt on his eventual um, political opponent, Joe Biden. He was trying to withhold aid that had already been approved by Congress in exchange for um, dirt on Joe Biden. Fucking crazy. The shit that this guy pulled, and people are wringing their hands. Oh, can't you let it go? And why? Why? Why would we? You do the crime, then you do the goddamn time. Simple as that. And I'd say the same thing goes. What separates us from Republicans is that they want their guy to not serve a day of jail time, no matter what he did. They will find a way to justify it. But if our guys or gals did a crime and they're guilty of it, take your ass to jail. If you have any doubt about what I'm saying, ask Al Franken about it. Just ask Al Franken. Trump Reaper pointing out that he caused the deaths of at least 6 people, including Ashley terrorist Babbitt. Agreed. Indeed. Cindy C saying he needs to be held accountable. Period. So Mark Meadows, it turns out, is going to be pleading guilty to lesser crimes in exchange for I guess he's getting some immunity from prosecution or something, or like heavy prosecution in exchange for giving up the goods on Trump. And I love to see it. I love to see that this jackass, who you guys, you've seen it already a dozen times, when somebody falls out of favor, that he either didn't know didn't know them, they just brought coffee to him, um, or this person was a bum and they begged me for a job. They begged me like a dog, and they were incompetent. I mean, everyone who's fallen out of favor with Trump, he just rolls them under the bus. There's no loyalty with this jackass. So it's very pleasing to see that shit flipped on him, as Michael Scott would say. Oh, how the turntables. Do I think Lady G will flip? If you are referring to Lindsey Graham, Foxhill Dreams, I would say no. I don't think Lindsey Graham. I think Lindsey Graham is ride or die with Trump. I think he's already made his bed, and now he's lying in it. He's all the way. Doesn't make sense for him to flip now. So, nah, I think he goes down with that ship. Yep. Yes, indeed. So the only thing that I'm a little bit concernicus about is that they're looking, the Jack Smith team is looking to have this trial moved to Florida. That worries me. It worries me because Florida is Trumpville. Trumpville. I don't doubt that there are little tiny pockets of space where he is not adored, but overall, um, he is highly likely to get a jury that is favorable to him in Florida. He's even more likely to get a judge that is favorable to him in Florida. And I've lost a lot of faith. I hate to say it. I've lost a lot of faith in judges, specifically judges, over the past, I don't know, 4 to 6 years, when looking at the Supreme Court. I used to think of all the courts, the Supreme Court was above reproach. I thought that they have their own opinions about politics, but they are going to rule fairly. And nah, they're not. They're not. Just take one look at Clarence Thomas, and you know what it is. Let's see. Let me see what Cindy C is saying. Don't worry, BDD. The Florida one will be for his accomplices. Here, let me put this up here. This is Cindy C. The Florida one will be for his accomplices there that helped hide the documents, not his charges. Yeah. So there is a very good point that Cindy C has made, but there's also a good point too, is that it's really unavoidable that it has to happen in Florida, because they have to try to hold the trial where the offenses were committed. The bulk of the offenses were committed, and overwhelmingly they were committed at Mar-a-Lago. So there you have it. I don't know I guess if Trump is convicted and DeSantis is still governor, presumably DeSantis can pardon him. Am I wrong about that? I think that's it. So yeah, Veronica says he's going to be indicted in Florida. I'm sure of that. The question is whether or not he can be convicted in Florida. That's big. That's a big. That's a big what if. So I think that's all I got for you guys, folks. Oh, that's not all I have. Yeah. In addition to the thing in Florida, we also have the Attorney General Fani Willis in Fulton County, Georgia, who is working on her case. This is the election interference case. And before before Jack Smith stepped up and started flexing his muscles, I thought Fannie Willis was was easily the biggest slam dunk um, case against Trump. I still do think that too. I still think she has the strongest case. I was a little concernicus and put off that she pushed back the unsealing of charges to I think it's August. I think August we're going to find out. I was a little worried about that, but whatever. We'll see. I think she's got a solid case. And also Alvin Bragg has still got his thing. He's got a lot of charges, felonies. I think it was 32 or 33 charges against Trump in New York. So it should be interesting to see what happens to Donald Trump over the next 12 to 24 months. And he's already had an unfavorable verdict against him in the E. Jean Carroll case, and now she's putting another one on his ass, slapping him with another one because of the things he said at the CNN town hall. So come on and come up and uppance on trumpets. Wow, it's kind of mind-boggling to see all that. And I know Republicans right now, they're like, I can't wait to get in power so we can do the same thing to Joe Biden. You got to have something, concrete against him. I mean, you can investigate him all you want. You guys did that with Hillary Clinton. And how did that turn out for you guys, huh? How did it turn out? Is she behind bars? Is she locked up as you kept chanting over and over and over? No? Where is she? She's sipping Chardonnay at her home, chilling, not worried about being indicted one bit. So I laugh at so much. Yes, Cindy C, there has to be evidence of a crime, and of that there is not. So, all right, what questions do you guys have for me? Questions. Pleased to ask, I will please to answer. James Comer is chomping at the bit to get Chris Wray. Yeah, I saw that. I don't care. I don't care. Chris Wray was selected by Donald Trump. So, hey, Chacha, thank you, my friend. Thank you so kindly for the kind donation. Thank you, my friend. Republican debates are, your boy Ken, going to be interesting. There's like a whole clown car full of candidates out there, and I'm pretty sure they are not finished queuing themselves up, right? Let's see. Oh yeah, Laney here says Chris Christie. Absolutely, Chris Christie probably has less of a chance to win than Mike Pence. Chris Christie, I believe, is probably hated more by Republicans than Mike Pence is, and part of that is that he's just not a likable person, and which is interesting too, because Ron DeSantis is essentially Chris Christie 2.0. Ron DeSantis. Because if you've ever seen Ron DeSantis's press conferences, he handles his press conferences more the way Chris Christie did, in a bully fashion, than anything else. That's my personal opinion. And they love Ron DeSantis, but that's mostly due to the fact that he mimics Trump so much. Melissa McQueen wants to know, what do I think about Twitter nowadays? I think it's garbage. It's garbage. The other day, when I was with my sisters, um, um, one of my sisters was opening up a new Twitter account, and she showed it. I was watching her do this, and so it got to the screen where they suggest all the follows to you, and she didn't even know, because she's not on Twitter to the same extent that I am, right? So she didn't recognize a lot of the names, uh, like Ben Shapiro, or what's Big Head, Charlie Kirk, right? She didn't recognize those names, but some of the bigger names, she was like, "Holy shit!" Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz, and literally from top to bottom, for the first 30 suggested follows, were hard right, far right conservatives. And I was like, "Wow!" So new people logging into Twitter. This is what Twitter is suggesting, Twitter is suggesting that they follow. So people were complaining that Twitter was balanced against conservatives. Now Elon has done he's put his finger on the scale, and now he's putting it all the way in favor of conservatives. All right, fine, if that's what you have to do to balance it out. But at some point, you got to take your finger off the scale and de-rig everything. Accounts that I follow regularly, I don't see anymore. I see all these garbage fight video accounts. It's annoying. It's disgusting, and a lot of people have inadvertently got unfollowed by me, which I didn't do. I don't unfollow anybody unless you're an asshole to me. Um, and Melissa says she's also seeing a lot more ads on her Twitter feed. I see a lot fewer because I blocked like a ton of ads. I probably, in a 2-week period, I probably blocked somewhere between 200 and 300 ads. And I think my account may have been deboosted because I blocked all their ads. I don't know. Uh, and Lane 2 says so much porn. Indeed, there's a ton of the porn, there's a ton of racism, and there's a ton of fight videos. It's overall it's very disgusting. Aries Wanderer, welcome, Aries Wanderer. I see you there. She says the sky in Cleveland was hazy and smoky today. Yeah, we had shitty air quality. In fact, so bad that my kids were sent back from school early today, and tomorrow, no class tomorrow. Interesting, because um, they don't have air conditioning in the school. It's the disadvantage of going to public schools. Um, so yes, in answer to your question, Cha Cha, we do have smoke. And are me and the rest of the East Coast okay? Yeah, we're okay, but it's doing something weird to the air. Like it's very, very strong smoke out. I don't spend a lot of time outside if I don't have to. But yeah, wifey and my daughter were wearing masks outside because of the smoke, which I think is smart. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Late Night with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Let me turn this down a little. Okay. And if you have not yet gotten your shotten, hey, Lucy L with my favorite comment of the night. Thank you. I think that might just be because I got a much needed haircut and a shave. also, yeah, I've only lost 5 pounds, but what's interesting is before I went out uh, to, uh, to California for my dad and my sisters, I had lost 5 pounds. And I went out there, I put the 5 pounds back on. And since I've been back, I took them off again. So glad to hear that that it looks as if I've lost weight. Um, Ham, long a time no see. All of these peoples that I hadn't seen in forever timings. I love you guys. I love you so much. Okay, I said the thing about the Gatten your Schatten. Also, if you must wear a mask, keep your social distance 6 feet or better. Why am I still saying social distance? I like it. I don't particularly like anybody all up in my business. Back the fuck up. Oh yeah, Cindy C, thank you for reminding me to please remind folks to hit the like button. Hit it and enjoy hitting it. And also subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. For those who are watching the replay, that's where the real action is. The real action is right here when you get to ask live questions and have them answered. So until next time, you guys. Until next time, I love you so much. Peace. Hey. Damn Alaskan, I will. Lane, thank you so much. Damn Alaskan says, I don't like people anymore. So 6 feet is great. LOL. Indeed. Hey. Allison Hatch, thank you so much. Thank you kindly. I love to hear it. I feel fabulous too. Mostly. I like that song so much, I think I'm going to have it loop and play again. Exactly, Lane. Pride face, orange flowing. Indeed. Imagine if your life was emoji, but you had to say, instead of actually emoting, you had to say your emotion. You wouldn't do it. You would say, middle finger, tongue out, nauseous face. All right, you guys. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. At that time, you need to leave.